Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Vale Custom. So today I'm sharing with you this Daywalker blade kit. It was a really great kit. I absolutely love the sculpt. It was a lot of fun to work on this, and we could break it all down for you guys. I also did a kit review on this a while back. I'll leave that in the description. So if you guys want to check out the raw form and how I kind of saw a lot of stuff that I had to do with it. It was a little tricky here and there, but I had to do some custom work as well for all the interchangeable parts. But we'll get in a little bit closer. We'll show all that. But as you can see over here, we have the extra hands, the arms, and the sword. He is pretty much pieced together right now with the arms down. And you can pretty much see all the amazing detail on this. Like, after working on this, and while I was working on it, actually, I went back and watched all the Blade movies because I wanted to get the feel of some of his outfit. Just get back in there and watch the movies again. But they did a phenomenal job with this. So he looks like he actually really jumped out of the movie. So we'll kind of go over everything. We'll do all the parts first, and then we'll get into all the paintwork. So his arms do come out. The sword in the back comes out. So if you were decided to take out this sword, it's like this. And then if you want to interchange with the right hand, get it down a little bit closer. So you could do it. This is magnetized. Comes out like that. And then if you want to, you can take this sword and you can put it in there like so. So really cool idea. Definitely works out pretty cool. So, you know, instead of building the kit and you glue the sword in the back of him, you know, you can take the sword out and then it's in his hand. They also, for these pieces, just the way this comes out, he does come with his boomerang weapons. So as you can see, you can put those in there as well. So if you wanted you don't have one gun, one boomerang, or if you wanted to have two boomerangs. So, you know, you got a lot of options with this, which is kind of cool. You just have to make sure that every arm and every magnet is set up correctly, because you can't have these arms going in that way and then try to do the magnets in the other part. So you got to make sure everything's lined up. Now, one of the things for these arms that was a little bit complex was the keys that came with it were a little too, they just didn't work. What happened was, get up here, so bear with me, this one's got a lot of stuff to it. So, this arm right here, when you, with the key that came with it, if you pushed it down to fit in, there's a gap over here, and if you kind of push the arm up and over here, there's a gap over there. So, basically the arms were not flush. So what I did is I decided to make my own key, so I put in my own metal rods in here, and then what I did is I pushed Aves around this arm here like so. And then once I got my key set up, what I did is I pushed the Aves in here like this. I squeezed it, so all the Aves came around the arm. So what I did is I sanded that down. So once this arm was working, this arm, I had to make the key for this one, and then I had to do the same exact thing. So, let's see, I'm just trying to, here we go. So now that arm is flush, so you can pretty much see how that worked out. It is possible that because these arms will stay in a little bit long time, that you know, the acrylic and paints might like attach to it, because you can see on this arm there's a little bit mark here. So you can kind of see there's a little bit mark there and a mark there, and there's nothing I could really do about that, but I wanted to make sure all this stuff was seamed out correctly. So, you know, if you want to, you could take you know, you can put the arms like so. So you can have that one arm and that arm down. So if you want him holding like this, you could do that. So that's kind of cool. So that's one thing you can do. And then if you want to, you can take this arm out. Always be careful of these pieces because they're a little bit delicate. So this is the other arm. So I had to do the same thing with this. Okay. So and then what I like this pose a lot when you put in both guns like so. So I like that. So that's really cool. I mean, it's a really great idea and a great design with interchangeable parts. The only problem was the factory keying just wasn't up to par. I even putting in the magnets they gave for the kit, and then trying to fit those keys in, it wasn't going to work. I decided, you know what, it's better just to do my own keys, so make sure everything's secured. So there is a nice bigger magnet in here, and then for the arms. Now, one of the things I did too for breaking down was I decided to make the head removable too. So just in case, because at one point the client was deciding, you know, maybe we should get a different, another head to put on the glasses, but the problem was he couldn't get the head, and the glasses that came with this just were not working. No matter how much I kind of heat set them to try to fix them, it just wouldn't work. And then I told him, I go, well, if I have to rebuild these glasses, we're talking about a lot more work. So he decided, you know what, he might just try to see if he could find like a Hot Toy glasses or something from another kid or something down the line. But and I kind of like it with the glasses off too a little bit, because you get to see all the sculpt. But really cool. So one of the other things too is I want to take off these arms just to show you. Like I said, there's a lot of parts in here. So what I did do is I decided to make this part magnetized as well, because I figured it'll be a little bit easier for shipping, and then like say down the line if anything ever broke or scratched, at least we don't have to try to get underneath there and get all those parts. Now what I also did is one last piece is he is removable from the base. So what I did is I made my own peg here, and then I put a magnet over here, and I made sure he goes in and out of the base. Now the base was hollow if you see the kit review. So what I did is I put chunks of resin and I put like eaves and stuff at the bottom of it. And then what I did is I closed it all up and I was able to add the pegs and everything. So that's pretty much, you know, the breakdown of all the parts. But it is just awesome. So let's put him back together, and then we'll do some of the paintwork review. Alright, let me stop it. We'll put them back together and we'll go over that. On to the paint work. So we'll start off with this head. Now, this was a lot of fun painting this head because the detail on this is just amazing. So what I did is pulled up a couple pictures of Wesley Snipes from the movie, just another couple pictures of Wesley Snipes, and of course Hollywood pictures of movies, you know, online you're going to see like tons of like lighting and stuff. You're going to see a lot of different colors, so I just had to kind of work them all in. So it's Garage Kit's Flesh Tones. I use a couple P3 formula washes. There's some transparency blues and purples in the skin. So I just really wanted to bring it out as much as possible, and just had a lot of fun with it. You know, and then I worked out the tattoo in his back, his hair. Now, as for his eyes, what I did is I used Archer Fine Transfer Detail eyes, which were like these yellow monster ones, but I added a little bit of mahogany in there. Because a couple pictures I saw online, his eyes were green, from the movie at least. Then one movie, they're kind of like a yellowish, and then the other movie, they're almost like a little reddish yellowish. So I kind of like, you know what, we'll give him a little bit more of that mahogany yellow look into the eyes. But really, really cool. It's awesome sculpt. So as far as the outfit goes, what I did is just like a basic 75-80% gray up here. This right here is a, it's kind of like a, it's called rubber something. I forget what kind of paint. It's from another company, but it's not really rubber. It just looks like it's rubber when it's painted. So I threw that on there, and then I kind of misted some metallics on it just to give it like a, you know, some kind of like protective gear. So I went with that route with that. As far as his pants, they are like a, I don't know, I would say maybe like a 90% black color in there. I did a little bit of dry brushing at the bottom of a lighter, like maybe like an 80% around the boot areas. Kind of doesn't really, may not be able to see it in the camera too much, but just subtle differences because, I mean, you know, when you look at the movie, it's just, you know, it's just all colors are dark and they're black, so I wanted to try to give a little bit of variation to that stuff as well. For his buckles, they're just basically a chrome paint because I wanted it to make it a little bit different than the chrome of the weapons. You know, these chromes right here are from the AK Interactive Chrome, so I did those up. I did up the sword up here as well, the handle. I also did the other weapons in the chrome. For his guns, let's see, get a little bit down. So for his guns, I went with a Tamiya gunmetal. I did a little bit of like dark washes around some areas here and there. So I really wanted the guns to be separate. Now his gloves are almost, they're basically that rubber paint that I was using for his chest, but I added a little black into them. So just to give his gloves a little bit of a variation over there. Now his boots, I really wanted to try something a little bit different. And the boots have like a little bit of like browns in there and washes, because I know when you look on the movie, they're like straight up just black boots, but I kind of wanted to give it a little bit more life to him just to change it up. So that's kind of what I went with there. Client was happy with it and it worked out. Now for his red under his cape, it might be a little hard to see, but one picture I saw had like this this red in there that was it was kind of like a let's kind of get a little bit down a little bit more. So the red had like some like a texture, so it was kind of like a felt fabric, you know, something really like fancy under there. So what I did is a lot of like texture in there. Kind of be hard to break it out. Maybe you saw it before when I pulled off the top of the body, but so I just wanted to do a little bit of different variation for that. Instead of just black and then, instead of just red and then, doing a shadow. So that's kind of when it went there. Now, as far for his jacket, of course, he's got like this leather jacket. So what I did is a straight black paint on there, and then I gloss coated it, and then I dulled it down just to give it a little bit of a leather look. I was going to add some, I did start adding some like browns into it, but it just started to kind of look too leathery as far as like a dark. I wanted to keep it more like the movie where it's kind of like that black, so that's kind of when I went there. Now as far as the base goes, what he wanted me to do is kind of follow the, I think it was the first movie when they were in the part with the, what was it, the blood god, and we went that route, and then and he wanted to do like fluorescent in the symbols. So that's what I did with the fluorescent symbols there. And just pretty much came together. I mean, it's a really amazing kit. I mean, the detailing and everything was worked out great. Now, the only problem about the kit, like I said in my kit review, was the shoulders. The shoulders were very, very difficult because I don't understand if it was the 3D print or if it was the way they casted it or something happened, but there was a lot of mess ups all over the shoulders up around here and here. So I had to fill in that area and sort of rebuild some stuff, especially like the seam lines, like around there. I kind of had to fill in. And I think the other major part, which was not really major, but it's just typical of casting, I think it was like underneath here, under like where I guess where they would cut the piece to make the mold. Let's pop him out. So I think what it was is like under here, and then over in there as well, there was an issue where it was like all jaggeded and it wasn't like cut very well. So I just kind of had to fill that in. But other than that, really great kit. I mean, everything worked out pretty great. I had a lot of fun with it. You can see what I did with the sword here with the handle. Just kind of did some like washing, try to make it look like the movie. I would love this to be like a real metal. At least the blade, that would have been really great, but then I guess maybe it would have been too heavy to hold in his hand. But that would have been a nice touch for the kit. I mean, if it was actually real metal. I thought about trying to find like maybe some, like leather openers, but I didn't see any leather openers that were pretty much blade leather openers, so that kind of sucked. But really cool. I mean, let me know what you guys think. It's a really great kit. I remember when I did the kit review, a lot of people were emailing me, asking me where they can get one. A lot of people were really impressed with the head. I had a couple friends come over too just to look at it, and they really love this head. I mean, this thing is just like, it is phenomenal. Just a really great kit. So there you go. That is my Blade Daywalker. Hopefully you guys liked the way he came out. I had a lot of fun. Let me know what you guys think in the description, and we'll be back with some more videos.